Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Basketball PH podcast. Enjoy the show.
Fantasy Basketball PH. Put your money where your mouth is. At ibang talakayan kaya tara halika. Fantasy Basketball PH. Fantasy Basketball PH. Ang numero unong basketball patasya ng Pinas. Fantasy Basketball PH. Dito mapag-uusapan mga ballers na likas. Fantasy Basketball PH. Put your money where your mouth is. Iba't ibang talakayan kaya tara halika. Fantasy Basketball PH ang bida na ito'y magsisilbing daungan sa mga hilig na ang basketball ay mapag-usapan. Kasama si Papi Ray, madami kang matututunan gaya ng strategy, analysis sa kaganapan. Pag-uusapan ang DFS, roto head to head, buy low, sell high, add, draft and trade, magic puno at iba pang transaction sa laro. Lahat dito'y tatalakayin kaya wag na lumayo. Bida dito yung mga player na magaling kumamada, mala Nikola Jokic at Victor Wembanyama. Yung mga hustle na player like Russell and Dillon at iba pa ay dito natin pwedeng makonskyon. Let's talk about NPBL, UAAP and PBA together with NCAA and NBA. At sa lahat ng mga nangungopya ka ng literal, sa aking mga content di rin kayo magtatagal.
Yo, kamusta mga paps? Welcome to the Fantasy Basketball PH podcast. And of course, I'm your host, NBA Fantasy Papi Roy in the house. Fantasy Basketball Podcast, ang numero unong Fantasy Basketball Podcast sa Pinas. Okay, so nagkaroon tayo ng live kanina. Actually, 2 parts yung live natin for trade deadline. Kaso syempre, play-by-play yun eh. As in, almost an hour lang siya. Take 30 minutes. Give or take. Pagkatapos, tinry nating i-analyze lahat ng mga nangyari during 3 a.m. hanggang matapos yung trade deadline, which is 4 a.m. Philippine time. At hindi masyadong madami. Akala ko meron man lang Vucevic o kaya si Kabayan mate-trade. Was hoping na papunta sa Denver. Kaso walang nangyari. So medyo madali yung naging analysis natin. Wala namang heavy na analysis needed. So, ang gawin na lang natin is i-recap natin lahat ng trades since day one, since yung unang-unang trade na naaalala natin per team para mas mabilis siyang i-analyze for this specific episode. So, matagal-tagal na rin tayong hindi nakakapag record ng episode. So, this time, magre-record na tayo ng episode. At saktong-sakto, maganda yung timing natin kasi ang pag-uusapan naman natin today is yung parang debrief na to ng previously executed or concluded na trade deadline. So, 2024-2025. Last year, active din tayo eh. Kaso last year, ang alam ko, wala tayong Tagalog episode. Kasi kasama natin si NBA Fantasy Bible. Shout out to you, D-Mac. At si Kayla ng Beaches B-Ballin. Okay, so bago natin umpisahan, shout out muna tayo sa ating partner in crime dito sa Fantasy Basketball ng Pinas. Daily Fantasy. So meron tayong pa-video for today. Tingnan natin.
Hawak ko ang laro.
Yun, no? Hawak daw ni Kaloy yung laro. So kung hindi nyo pa na-check, check nyo na yan, search nyo na Let's Play Daily Fantasy. Available yan on web, so search nyo lang yon. At dun sa Facebook page natin, pinopost din naman natin yung mga links. So check nyo na siya. Siya ang una, I would say una, or at least number 1 in recent memory na daily fantasy app or fantasy sports app specifically in the country sa Pinas. So kung merong DraftKings ang ibang bansa, FanDuel, meron ding Yahoo. Ngayon meron na tayong sariling atin at ito yung daily fantasy. So ang daily fantasy kung hindi ka pa familiar, isipin mo na lang yung sinasalihan mong season-long na fantasy or buong season. Ito per day lang. Yun lang yung difference niya. So you have to come up with your own team, build your own team, and go against other teams. At kung sino may pinakamataas na fantasy points in accumulation, yun ang mag-uuwi ng either pot money or may mga prizes tayo from time to time, usually NBA merch. At dun ko nga nakuha ito, yung ating NBA merch for today. Suot natin. Shoutout sa Daily Fantasy. Yun, no? NBA Philippines. So, napanalunan natin to during, ano ba to? Christmas or New Year season. So, shoutout sa Daily Fantasy. At kung gusto nyong manalo easily, siguro ang na, ano ko lang doon, na naging puhunan ko bukod doon sa pagsali, is around 100 pesos. Kasi usually yung games nila ranges from 10 pesos, 20 pesos, 50 pesos, 100 pesos to 200 pesos. So, sobrang ano niya, affordable, mag-e-enjoy ka pa, mahahasa pa yung NBA analysis mo. At kung syempre, tayo mga Pinoy, hindi tayo magpapahuli kung NBA analysis ang usapan. For sure yan. Lahat tayo well opinionated eh. So, gamitin nating avenue itong daily fantasy para magkaalaman na, 'di ba? Put your money where your mouth is. Ika nga. Okay. So, umpisahan na natin. Syempre, ang unang team na pag-uusapan natin ay the Los Angeles Lakers. And I think this is also the team na biggest winner sa trade deadline. Ano ba? Paano ko ba i-explain ang take ko dito? Basta ang angulo ko lang dyan. Whatever is behind dun sa trade na to. This is good for the business. This is good for the LA Lakers, of course. This is good for LeBron's legacy, and this is good as well for Lucas' future legacy. So, all system go. Medyo hassle lang dun sa ibang teams or ibang fans kasi questionable yung trade. Hindi siya straight up na maiintindihan mo. Pero hindi din naman siya komplikado na, like, say for example, may multiple picks na involved, may nire-route, may buy-in, may money consideration na malilito ka sa pag-a-analyze. Hindi eh. Straightforward siya. Ang problema sa kanya ay hindi mo basta mag-grasp yung reason ng Dallas kung bakit nila ite-trade si Luka Doncic sa Los Angeles Lakers. They're talking about the defense, they're talking about yung health, they are talking about the commitment. Pero ito, si Luka nag-practice agad sa Lakers para maglalaro na sa susunod na game. So it hindi talaga nagme-make sense siya basta-basta kapag inupuan mo, mapapaano ka eh, mapapamuni-muni ka eh. Kakailanganin mo ng ilang minutes or posibleng oras pa nga para mapagtugma-tugma mo lahat. At nung ginawa ko yun, wala pa rin akong napagtugma-tugma. Ang pinaka-top na possible logical reason lang is this is something personal for Nico Harrison. Tama ba, Nico Harrison? Ng GM ng Dallas Mavericks. Dahil wala eh. Yun na lang yung nakikita kong dahilan eh kung ba't niya gagawin yun. Medyo hilaw yung mga niredy niya na reasons. Kitang-kita natin, awkward sa Dallas, si Jason Kidd, hindi mo mababakasan ng saya sa bibig. Even si Nico, yung GM, nung trade na ini-explain niya kung gaano nila kagusto si Anthony Davis, ni walang ngiti nga sa bibig niya eh. Walang excitement eh. In comparison dito sa Lakers, nakitang-kita mo naman, hindi man ganun sobrang saya. Iba yung vibe, iba yung vibe. So, let's leave it at that, I guess. Pero this is gonna go in the books, in historical books na isa sa mga malaking trades na malamang yung mga future influencers at magko-cover nito, iha-highlight yung questionable trade na to. So, let's see. Hopefully, hindi basta-basta mag-resign si Nico para para hindi siya magbukang kaduda-duda. At mamaya, pag-usapan natin yun sa side ng Dallas. Pero sa Los Angeles Lakers, balik tayo. Segue lang. Kasi feeling ko dito lang naman tayo may mahabang segue. So, pagbigyan na natin. Luka Doncic yung nakuha ng Los Angeles Lakers with Mark Williams, Maxi Cleaver, and Markieff Morris. Injured si Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris, malamang hindi ito maglalaro. Umpisahan muna natin kay Mark Williams. Ito yung recently concluded trade hours, mga couple of hours ago. So, sobrang solid nitong trade na to. Actually, kahapon pala, hindi pala kanina. Itong trade na to kay Mark Williams answers or solves a lot of problems, especially do sa front court ng Los Angeles Lakers. And I think in fantasy, hindi ko masasabi na sobrang magte-trend down. Obviously, yung usage kasi yung mga recent na games ni Mark Williams, mataas talaga yung scoring niya. So that's gonna be a problem when you're playing with Luka Doncic and when you're playing with LeBron James. Meron ka pang Austin Reeves. Kasi hindi mo mahihit yun eh. There's gonna be games that he's gonna reach around 20-ish. Pero I'm not sure if it's gonna be a lot of those games. Kasi um, depende din siguro kasi di pa natin nakikita na magkasabay si Lucas at si LeBron eh. Maybe it opens up the lanes para easy alley para kay Mark Williams. So maybe pero let's just assume na hindi talaga mare-replicate yung recent games ni Mark Williams, but he still gets a value. This time clear na yung direction, previously meron kang solid na playmaker with LaMelo Ball. Ngayon tatlo na yon. So you have LeBron James, you have Luka Doncic, and you have Austin Reeves. So it's just about him getting healthy. Yun lang naman yun. Oh. Yun yung biggest risk. The biggest risk is for Mark Williams to stay healthy, which he hasn't really done yet for a full season. So if he can do that, dahil naalagaan din naman ng Los Angeles Lakers si Anthony Davis and then si LeBron andyan to really hook both Luka and Mark Williams sa regimen niya to stay healthy and to um get the best built in terms of body talagang bawing-bawi at panalong-panalo yung trade kay Mark Williams. Trending down but never a drop and stick ka lang kay Mark Williams rest of the season. Luka Doncic is gonna be the same. Feeling ko straightforward naman yon. Dynasty-wise, it's gonna be the same as well. Siguro dun sa adjustment lang with playing with LeBron James and Austin Reeves, iba yung dynamics. Parang ano to eh, highlighted or hyped up na Jalen Bronson's Jalen Bronson plus Luka Doncic eh. So, magkaiba siya doon sa Kyrie, magkaiba siya doon sa Klay Thompson or PJ Washington kasi those players can actually shoot like coming off the without even touching the ball. Parang pwede silang maging straight up shooter. Well, iba si Kyrie ng bahagya, pero yung si Clay, si PJ, kaya nila yun eh. In comparison to Austin Reeves saka si LeBron, hindi naman sila ganun. They aren't that type of scorer. They really need the ball. So maybe mababawasan yung assist ni Luka. Pero at this point in LeBron's career, katulad nung sa US, ang sipag niya minsan eh. Pag-cut, pagbaba. So, it could be interesting. Feeling ko pag-uusapan nila yan. Pwede naman silang magsalitan. Pero, it's gonna stay the same. Ang sigurong mas apektado dito ay yung katulad ni Austin Reeves is gonna trend down for sure. Imposibleng ma-retain niya yung previous value niya nung wala pa si Luka Doncic. The rest, even Rui, Jackson Hayes drop na si Rui, magbababa din yung value. So, it's just about Luka, Mark Williams, LeBron, and Austin Reeves dito sa team ng Lakers. Of course, Dallas Mavericks, ito yung second team na mas may na-involve na star player this trade deadline. Ang nakuha ng Dallas Mavericks or ang haul nila for this season ay si Anthony Davis, si Caleb Martin, at si Max Christie. So, si Anthony Davis, I think there's a chance na mag-improve pa yung value niya. Pero I'm not sure if it's gonna be that big. May chance din na bumaba, pero mas naglilin ako na mas umangat siya ng konti. Just because he can actually play his primary position or his position of choice, which is power forward. And when he plays yung position na yon, I think he can score more. He can actually be help in facilitating as well. Yun nga lang, he might extend a little bit in terms of uh, getting more mid-range shots na hindi naman siya talaga ganun ka-solid. So meaning there are going to be games that medyo shaky yung percentage niya if he relies too much to sa kanyang mid-range. Pero nakikita ko hindi naman to mag-full-time PF eh. I think he's gonna play around 60% or 70% maybe in the PF position but still close as a center kasi yung strong starting lineup or strong lineup nila in general includes PJ Washington playing at the 4 din. So, malalaman natin yan. Yung 3 kasi, pwedeng si PJ Washington mag-start pero kakakuha lang nila kay Caleb Martin. I'm just not sure kung kailan ang balik nito. They also have Max Christie pa naman. They have Najee Marshall that can play 3 as well. So, baka yun muna. But, ang best lineup talaga siguro nila is Anthony Davis at the 5, PJ Washington at the 4, Kyrie Irving at the 2, at 1, Klay Thompson at 2, maybe Caleb Martin at 3. So, yun yung nakikita kong lineup. So, again, it means um, at some point, not just couple of minutes, pero siguro mga around 10 minutes, give or take, magpe-play pa rin ang center itong si Anthony Davis. Actually, kapag hindi nag-work yung 4 siya, baka mag-play pa rin siya ng center eh. Weird lang 'yon kasi may dalawang center sa Dallas. At least ngayon si Gafford lang. So heavily impacted yung value ni Gafford for sure. Lalo na kapag naglalaro ng 5 tong si Anthony Davis. Even maglaro ng 4 si Anthony Davis, medyo agaw pa rin sila sa rebounds eh. And I think mas papaboran syempre pa rin nila si Anthony Davis. So trend down, value down for Dan Gafford, hindi siya droppable. Next year is gonna be different. Ngayon kasi wala pa si Lively, so may value pa siya. Next year, nako, they were offset each other to the point na baka late pick na lang yung dalawang yun as a big man. And yun. Another impact for this trade is Kyrie Irving. So dahil nawala si Luka Doncic, siya na yung primary ball handler. And gusto kong pag-usapan natin quickly lang itong si Kyrie Irving kasi para sa akin, siya yung pinaka-impacted sa lahat eh na posibleng negatively. Just because ang ganda na nung dynamics nila ni Luka. Maganda yung alis niya ah, sa Brooklyn tapos lipat niya dito sa Dallas Mavericks. Mentoring na yung role niya. Sabi niya masaya na ulit siya. Wala na masyadong issue. Wala masyadong spotlight na mahahassle pa siya. Pero ngayon, yung pressure sa kay spotlight, nasa kanya na ulit. Kasi lumalabas ang naging diskarte ng Dallas Mavericks. Parang umangkala na dun sa kakayahan niya to actually bring them a championship. Granted na kaya pa niyang ibalik yung dating Kyrie Irving. So, hindi ko alam kung ano yung psyche ni Kyrie Irving dito. I'm not sure if he's still willing to do that. I'm not sure if his body is allows him to do that. May glimpse of the past. Kyrie Irving nung playoffs, solid 'yon. Pero can he do that like most of the season? Yun ang hindi natin sure. So medyo sugal talaga tong ginawa ng Mavs. Di ko alam kung bakit. At it's actually banking on a 33-year-old Kyrie Irving and upcoming 32-year-old Anthony Davis na hindi it's still their prime but it's a totally different ball game. Though kung may gagapang nila until playoffs, there could be a big difference kasi maganda din naman yung lineup nila. Other players, as is lang, wala akong nakikita. Siguro yung CISO battle lang is in between at least for this season Dan Gafford and PJ Washington eh. So if kung ano man yung role ni PJ Washington, is gonna impact him if he still gets enough minutes at the 4 or even at the 3 or just enough minutes, mga 30 plus minutes, he could actually retain yung value niya prior do sa injury ni Luka, which is still rosterable. I think it's, borderline top 100 pa rin naman. It could be better if he starts at the 3. But kailangan nila si PJ Washington kasi technically he's the third best shot creator sa kanila. I would choose him over Klay Thompson. Of course, Klay Thompson can really fire up at any point in time. Pero hindi niya kayang gumawa ng sariling shot niya. So that's the reason why I'm choosing PJ Washington as their third best player. And I know they understand that. At alam kong importante yung ginagawa ni PJ Washington as that scoring punch slash defense guy nila on the floor. So with that said, chill lang ako kay PJ Washington. Let's just assume na bababa siya ng bahagya yung value niya. I don't think it's gonna be a big hit. Well, big hit kung ang point of comparison itong recent value, which is alam naman natin lahat na hindi sustainable kasi wala si Luka nitong mga past couple of weeks So, ibase natin to dun sa value niya prior dun sa injury ni Luka. So, I would say it could almost be the same. So, that's the Dallas Mavericks for you. Um, Lively, tinamaan yung dynasty value niya, hindi na ganun kagandahan. Max Christie pala, maybe we can highlight Max Christie more. I think cap pa yung upside niya. Nakabase na lang to kung trip talaga si Jason Kidd o hindi. So, nung nakaraan off the bench, maganda naman yung performance niya. I doubt that it could happen kasi wala pa si Anthony Davis doon. So that's another big usage na babawas sa kanya. And then papasok pa if ever si Caleb Martin. But I just think he could be their 3 and D for the future kasi sinama nila to sa package abangan na lang natin kay Jason Kidd. Okay, Golden State Warriors, isa lang nakuha nila dito si Jimmy Butler. Definitely better than just laying eggs sa Miami dahil hindi siya naglalaro, lagi siya suspended. So doon pa lang panalo ka na if you have Jimmy Butler. Kasi almost for the whole season wala siyang ginagawa. So the fact na finally maglalaro na siya, finally sana andun na siya sa mentalidad na gusto niyang maglaro as much as he can, then he can actually bring our fantasy teams to championship. And ayun, sana lang healthy siya at nagdrama lang siya sa Miami. Yun lang naman ang kalaban niya. Yung drama, kaya pa natin tanggapin yun as long as maglalaro siya. Pero kung may tinatago siya or may iniinda siyang issue, na feeling ko wala naman, kaya nga pumayag yung Golden State, where all systems go. At best, could be a third round value. At best, assuming na this is the old Jimmy Butler that takes over game, if it's like 70% of it, siguro around the 50, Ox na din yun. Ox na din yun. Not bad, not bad. Lalo na padulo na tayo. My San Antonio Spurs, shout out sa Spurs. For me, this is the second best trade sa buong trades na nangyari this season. So they got the Aaron Fox, Jordan McLaughlin, tapos recently lang Patrick Baldwin. Ewan ko, feeling ko ano din nila to i-wave din nila. Pero focus muna tayo kay De'Aaron Fox. Well, Jordan McLaughlin, I don't think may value siya unless mag-retire na bigla si CP3 or magpa-buyout. I doubt na mangyayari yon. Pero De'Aaron Fox, napakaganda yung performance niya nung unang game niya. Almost wala masyadong adjustment. Ang sakit, yung pag naka-full focus defense sila, ang sakit nung lineup nila apparently, malaking bagay si Champagny over Sohan just because Champagny can actually shoot from the outside, which is important if you have someone like Fox or Wemby na usually dino-double. So malaking bagay yun kasi kung si Sohan hindi pa siya legitimately threat sa tres, he can shoot but not consistently. So maganda na ang nakapaligid sa iyo isang mid-range maestro CP3 or actually kahit sa tres, okay din naman yan mataas ang percentage. You have Devin Vassell or you can either have Castle or Champagny. Pero si Champagny nga talaga yung pinaka-solid. na complement. So, hindi pa naman yun yung final sa kanilang binubuong dynasty. Pero this is actually a very, very big step forward. I think, hindi ko pa masasabi na totally mareretain ni De'Aaron Fox yung value niya coming from the Sacramento Kings. But I would say yes, he can actually replicate that. Maybe yung scoring, kalmado lang. Parang hindi naman bababa ng todo at hindi din wala din naman chance na umangat ng todo. So, laruin na lang natin sa mareretain. Parang yun na lang. Plus or minus na mareretain yung value from the Sacramento Kings. Of course, pag-usapan din natin yung nakapaligid na players. Wemby, hindi naman maapektuhan yan. Maapektuhan yan. Devin Vassell moves to the third option dahil andyan na si Fox. And I don't think it's that bad. Kasi minsan dahil nakafocus kay Wemby at sa kanya, may mga games na nahihirapan talaga siya kumuha ng space eh. And maybe do sa mga pagpilit niya or pag-force niya ng plays, baka doon din siya nakakakuha ng mga mishaps to get injured, no? Now that you have the Aaron Fox, the spacing is gonna be better. And I think that helps itong si Devin Vassell. Maybe yung upside to score a lot is gonna be lesser kasi you have someone like De'Aaron Fox. Pero the moment na well, in Dynasty, the moment na maklear si CP3 saka si Barnes, then it's better. Pero the moment na maka-adjust sila sa isa't isa, yung space na yun, magiging favorable din talaga kay Devin Vassell kasi he can shoot anywhere on the court. So malaking advantage yun. Plus, he can now focus in the defensive side of the things. Kasi before he needs to play make, he needs to score, he needs to defend. Siyempre nakakapagod din talaga yun. If you're playing basketball, alam mo yung nakakapagod yun. So this time, it could be easier. So that part of the deal, even though medyo mababawasan yung chances niya to score more, is just gonna make him better and more effective. So para sa akin, slightly win yun. Sohan, feeling ko siya yung pinaka na-impactan kasi again, hindi din talaga solid na shooter itong si De'Aaron Fox. So it's gonna be hard if magkakasabay sila, siya, si Cassell, saka si De'Aaron Fox. Lalabas si Wemby pa yung pinaka pinaka solid na shooter doon. So with that said, medyo na deprioritize si Jeremy Sohan. I don't think he's rosterable in standard leagues. He's a borderline drop. If there are other players na mas may okay na upside, I'd choose them. So yeah, borderline drop sa standard. In deeper leagues, sure, end of the roster na player, pero nakap na talaga yung upside ni Jeremy Sohan. Next is the Sacramento Kings. Zach LaVine ang nakuha nila, Jonas Valanciunas at Jake LaRavia or LaRavia. Ewan ko kung anong magiging role ni Jake LaRavia dito. Maybe siya yung ano ba? Kasi Swiss Army knife tong si Jake LaRavia eh. Um, Magalang bagay yun. He can actually defend as well. But I don't see him getting a lot of minutes pa rin dito sa Sacramento Kings. God goes as well with Jonas Valanciunas. Unless makita natin yung goal or plano ng Sacramento Kings kay Valanciunas, then saka ako masasabi na ay sige, uh, i-add natin siya or let's roster him all the way. For now, since meron siyang out na tago nyo muna sa mga IL plus nyo. And then let's observe. Baka naman mag-work yung Twin Tower, almost similar dun sa national team ng Lithuania, 'di ba? But I don't see it. I don't see it happening. Wala kasing depensa eh. Pwede, baka naman bold yung move na to. But tapos malakas pang kumuha ng minutes sa center itong si Domantas Sabonis. Though naglaro siya slightly ng power forward sa Indiana before. Dahil Sabonis saka ano yun, 'di ba? Miles Turner. Pero yun nga eh. It's really hard for me to imagine na Jonas Valanciunas gonna lag a lot of minutes. So, loser siya dito and I think posibleng, hindi pala posible. Talagang madadrop niya siya kung wala din naman siyang makukuhang minutes. Zach LaVine on the other hand, I can't say mare-replicate niya kasi napakataas ng usage niya doon sa Chicago Bulls. And then ngayon, kahati na ulit niya si DeMar DeRozan. Meron ka pang Domantas Sabonis. Almost similar sa Bulls, pero meron ka pa ding Malik Monk. Actually, parang template nga ng Chicago Bulls to way back 2020, I mean 2015 eh. So, I still think he has an top 75 upside. And kailangan lang niyang magkaroon ng ng ano ulit, ng adjustment. Hindi naman siguro magiging mahirap 'yun kasi sabi ko nga almost templated na ng similar pieces of the Bulls. So yeah, winner siya kasi this time hindi na natin kakatakutan na ay baka ipahinga ng Chicago Bulls. So para sa akin still a win. May dip in value to some extent pero para mo lang pinalitan si De'Aaron Fox eh. So I don't really see a lot of variation here. That goes as well with the Miami Heat. So, nakuha ng Miami Heat si Davion Mitchell, si Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, at itong si Andrew Wiggins. Davion Mitchell, ewan ko, ano to, third stringer na guard kasi nasa Miami pa rin si Terry Rozier eh. And then, itong si Kyle Anderson, not sure. Sana hindi niya makuhanan ng minutes itong si Kelly Ware pero niretain pa rin siya ng Miami Heat eh. While itong si Andrew Wiggins, he's gonna be now the partner of Tyler Hero as their primary scorers. So, I would assume mareretain pa rin ni Wiggins yung kanyang elevated value sa Golden State Warriors. Naging elevated na siya kasi simula nung nawala si Klay Thompson, siya na yung number 2 guy ng Golden State. Minsan number 3 pag binebuena at nagbabakaw si Kuminga. Pero dito sa Miami Heat, wala na sino bang magiging kagaw niya in terms of scoring ah. Kasi syempre iba yung na-offer na value ni Bam Adebayo. He doesn't need to score to actually help Miami to win. So when we're talking about scoring, kaya feeling ko salitan lang sila ni Tyler Hero. I just think hindi natin nakita ng madaming beses yung Jimmy Butler sa lineup ng Miami Heat ngayon eh. So, na-elevate talaga yung usage saka yung pag-score ni Tyler Hero. Kaya nakikita ko na posibleng medyo ma-impactan yun ng bahagya. Posible lang naman. Ah, decent defender naman si Andrew Wiggins. So, I guess parang in terms of yung overall value, parang cheap version or cheaper version ng Jimmy Butler role-wise. Of course, iba yung mga offer ni Jimmy Butler. Pero mas maliit kahan nito eh ni, ni Andrew Wiggins. But mas athletic at mas bata. So, yeah, it could work. It could work. Tingnan natin kung makahabol pa itong Miami Heat sa playoffs. Ang malungkot na si Brandon Ingram naman. Siya naman ang nakuha ng Toronto Raptors. Kasama niya si Tito PJ Tucker at si James Wiseman. Surprisingly, napasama pa si James Wiseman. James Wiseman, ano ba? Wala na si Kelly Olynyk, so baka siya na yun. Siya na yung third stringer big man. I guess PJ Tucker, ano na, makukolekta na lang ng sapatos yan. Ito si Brandon Ingram. I think dun sa trio ni Scotty Barnes, um, Emmanuel Quickly, saka ni RJ Barrett. Lahat yun, kailangan ng bola eh. Tapos dadagdag mo pa si Brandon Ingram. I think ang heavily impacted dyan, I doubt na si Scotty Barnes is still the primary focus of the Toronto Raptors. Pero yung two guy, dati, pag actual na naglalaro, it's actually Emmanuel Quickly eh. Pero on paper, parang si RJ Barrett yung two guy nila eh. I think that's gonna change. Kasi itong si Brandon Ingram, medyo point forward yung laro niya eh. So, maapektuhan yung ability ni Emmanuel Quickly to really rock a lot of stats. Good thing, combo guard siya. So kapag nag point forward ito si Brandon Ingram, actually si Scottie Barnes can do point forward then. It will actually allow Emmanuel Quickly to score more at the two or at the wing. Si RJ Barrett yung parang pinaka na-impactan among the three dahil again, hindi nga. Kailangan din niya talaga yung bola eh. So parang babalik ka doon sa New York. Konti lang naman. Babalik ka ng konti doon sa New York na RJ Barrett eh. Na you have Julius Randle, you have andun na si Jalen Bronson noon. Tama, di ba? Nag-aabot naman sila. So yun. Pero Brandon Ingram, obviously, kung ano yung value sa Pelicans, bababa. Just because mas madami na siyang kaagaw dito at madadamay pa niya either Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. Feeling ko yung Scotty Barnes di naman masyado maapektuhan. Saka yung ibang role players, hihigupin na lahat ni Brandon Ingram yan. Di ba? Para yung silang apat, eh talagang maghati-hati na sa usage ng Toronto Raptors. Grady Dick, I guess, one of the losers doon. Ang naisip ko lang, magiging literal na specialist na si Dick dahil sa outside shooting niya. Milwaukee Bucks, nakuha nila si Kyle Kuzma, si KPJ, saka si Jericho Sims. Not sure about Jericho Sims. Kevin Porter Jr. Siguro yung mga instances na uupo. Si Ingram, si Lillard, and or may drought. Malaking bagay si KPJ kasi spark plug ang laro nito eh. Kyle Kuzma is an improvement for Chris Middleton just because he's a healthier body and a younger body. He can almost do what uh, yung kayang gawin ni Middleton pero hindi ganoon ka-efficient at matagal-tagal na niyang hindi nagagawa to in a structured system. So tingnan natin kung na-adjust ni adjustment Kyle Kuzma. Stats wise, I'm not sure kung may aangat pa yung value niya. Kung meron man, it's because of the efficiency. And I think it's because of Giannis and Damian Lillard being around him. Kasi nung nasa Washington Wizards siya, ilan lang naman yung babantayan mo dun eh, compared dito sa Bucks. So, he might get better looks, meaning he gets more efficient. So, yun. So, it's a win for Kyle Kuzma. Parang ibang yung yung trend up niya or yung pagiging winner niya dito, it's not because he's gonna get more stats. It's because he's gonna get more efficient. Most likely. Ano, syempre, pag-usapan naman natin yung umalis sa Milwaukee Bucks, which is si Chris Middleton. May mga post ako nakikita na bagong duo ng Wizards Marcus Smart sa Middleton. Nagdududa ako na mangyayari yon. At nagdududa din ako na basta-basta magbababad itong si Middleton. Lalong-lalo na halos patapos na yung season. We're way past yung kalahatian ng NBA season natin. So with that said, yeah, I'm staying away for Chris Middleton. If may mag-drop dyan, pwede naman, stash mo lang. Pero nagdududa ako na i-risk pa niya na further ma-injury siya. Siguro condition lang sundot-sundot until mag 100% siya by next season. That goes as well with Marcus Smart kasi si Marcus Smart almost buong season din. May iniinde. Hassle lang kasi andyan si Marcus Smart, andyan si Malcolm Brogdon, andyan si Chris Middleton. So hindi talaga bumomba or hindi talaga nagkaroon ng magandang opportunity yung mga kabataan. Pero the Washington Wizards are already doing that for them eh. And I really doubt na magbababad tong mga veterans nito. Ang importante lang, they mentor yung mga bata kasi outside of those three and maybe Kispert, lahat yun bata na halos. Meron pa nga pala silang ano dito. Sino nga ba yung isa pa nilang wala na si Bagley sa kanila yung isa pa nilang center um mamaya pag naalala ko. Pero alam niyo na yun yung galing Sacramento Kings din. Okay, Cleveland Cavaliers, isa to doon sa mga almost buzzer beater trades So napunta na si DeAndre Hunter sa Cleveland Cavaliers. Obviously, he's gonna trend down just because he doesn't do a lot of things aside from scoring. So if you're gonna if you only or if the only thing that you can do is score at mababa yung minutes mo and you're playing with Darius Garland, with Donovan Mitchell, and you also have Evan Mobley. Paano mo gagawin yun, di ba? So hopefully may mga maambag siya na peripherals na hindi naman known for DeAndre Hunter. Siguro yung pedigree lang niya na as a spark plug talaga na ewan ko, kaya din naman gawin yun ng ibang mga players ng Cubs. Is just so happy na na-injured si Dean Wade So baka nagkaroon ng malaking butas siya. Los Angeles Clippers, so nakuha nila si Marjon Beauchamp, si Patty Mills, si Drew Eubanks, and then si Bogdan Bogdanovic. So Drew Eubanks, automatically siya yung handcuff ni Ivica Zubac, pero Zubac is having season of his career. So hindi ko alam kung kailan siya uupo. Palagay ko hindi basta-basta makakuha ng opportunity si Eubanks kasi Zubac is not stopping dun sa magandang run na ginawa niya for this season. Bogdan Bogdanovic on the other hand, madaming nawala. Si Treyman, yun nga si KPJ, and then si Bones Highland. So, may na-open na opportunity for Bogdan Bogdanovic to be that fourth, fifth um, guy sa Clippers. And he can play make, he can score, he can shoot from the outside, decent sa defense. So, para sa akin, malaking bagay din to. And there's an hidden upside just in case, knock on the wood, something happens to Kawhi Leonard. So, yun lang naman yun. And then, dun sa mga pagkakataon, kasi di ba may mga instances na umuupo si Kawhi, umuupo si Zubac, or umuupo itong si James Harden, then doon napapasok yung ability ni Bogdan Bogdanovic to be that uh, makabagong Batum. Kasi well, hindi na din bata talaga si Batum nung lumipat siya sa Clippers. Yun naging role niya, eh. Na parang siya yung, when everybody rests, siya yung umaangat, eh. So, yun ang nakikita ko para kay Bogdan Bogdanovic. Is he an ad? I don't think so. In deeper leagues, sure. Just because baka kaya niya mag-average ng 12 points, 2 snipes, a steal. So, decent yun. Sa standard, no. I don't think he's an ad. Let's monitor, pero hindi ko nakikita na ad siya basta-basta. Siyempre, ang kapalit kanina nung DeAndre Hunter ay itong sa Atlanta Hawks. Dito sa Atlanta Hawks ay si Bones Highland, si Gorgeous Diang, si Terrence Mann, saka si Caris LeVert. So, dami nun na magtutulungan sila. Tapos ang dami, medyo madami. Hindi naman sobrang dami. May mga options sa wing ang Atlanta. Ang daming wing na nila tuloy. So, while wala, at least for this season, while wala si Johnson, and then nawala nga si Bogdan Bogdanovic, I see Karen Lavert getting some run. Pero hindi ako nagtitiwala na it could actually drastically help your team. If ever may roll the dice ako, pwedeng si Niyang just because of the position. Kasi parang wala na ako maisip na 4 na pwedeng maglaro para sa Atlanta Hawks dahil si Hunter nga yung gumagawa nun. Next, Charlotte Hornets. Medyo gusto ko to for Dalton Knecht. Yung sinasabi nila na mas matanda pa si Knecht kay Mark Williams. Totoo naman yun. Pero feeling ko that's an American or international thing. Doesn't matter. Ang daming medyo may edad na player that really plays well. Siguro yung trajectory lang ng upside, yun talaga. Naniniwala ako na cup na yun. Dahil nga, syempre, mas may edad ka. Pero you're playing for the Charlotte Hornets. You've been a very good scorer no college, and then pinakita mo sa Lakers na mga ilang beses na you can still do that on an NBA level. So, yun din naman siguro yung hinihingi ng Charlotte Hornets. He is a good option. Feeling ko he's gonna bomb, especially without um, uh, tawag dito, LaMelo Ball pa. Well, di pa ulit bumabalik sa LaMelo Ball. And also Brandon Miller. Well, also out for the season na siya. So, he has a good chance. Wala din si Treyman. So, talagang may mga games talaga na bobomba to. But, just take note of his fantasy profile. Kasi aside from scoring, shooting threes, he doesn't, do a lot of things. But may mga games no sa Lakers na meron siyang panakanakang blocks, may panakanakang assist. He could do that. He could do that. Kasi nawala na rin si Vasilij Micic, eh. So wala nang playmaker sa kanila. Si KJ um, Martin ba? Parang yun yung anak ni ano eh. KJ Martin din eh. Basta yung isa pang guard, dahil wala kasi si Vasilij Micic, baka siya yung mag-step up. Pero I could see Dalton Connect also, trying to try to do that as well. So para sa akin, winner, ito si Dalton Connect. Siguro sa mga options sa pwedeng mo mapulot kasi puro stars yung trade, so hindi mo na sila mapupulot. Isa na si Connect sa top 5 na I would suggest that could get additional value just because of this trade. Not pala additional, actual value. They also got Cam Reddish. Wala naman ako. Di ako interesado. Maybe magkaroon siya ng chance kasi may mga injured din sa Charlotte but not so much. And then they got Yusuf Nurkic. Ang problema ko kay Yusuf Nurkic, kay Bosnian Beast, hindi natin kasi alam maglalaro ba siya, papahinga na rin siya. So yun yung question mark. If maglalaro siya, I can see him playing the Mark Williams role and itong si Diabate played the Nick Richards role before. Na almost hati sila. Almost like Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu. So that's how I see things. Just to be safe, I'm okay to add both. Pero just be reminded na they don't have guarantee na mag-hit. If Nurkic plays more than we expect, then he's a winner, possibly the biggest winner sa lahat if that happens. If not, and then eventually uupo siya, then Diabate could be the winner. So, either dito sa dalawa yung magiging biggest winner, pili na lang kayo. Pwede ding magtabla na hindi sila winner parehas, na parang wala lang, kaparehas lang ng dati. Pero, ang laki nung i-improve na value ni Nurk kasi hindi naman siya naglalaro sa Suns So, doon pa lang panalo na siya. Next natin, the Chicago Bulls. Mabilis lang to. Parang yung Trey Jones, hindi basta. I don't think may value yan. Yung Zach Collins, I'm not sure. Pero andyan pa rin si Vucevic. So I doubt siya na yung magiging third stringer na big. And ito naman si Kevin Huerter. Yan ang maybe. Maybe susundot pa ilan-ilan. Feeling ko there's gonna be games na biglang iinit itong si Huerter Tapos mapupush tayong polluted siya. Pero hindi din siya point of hindi kasi siya point of what you call this, point of offense ng Chicago Bulls meron ka ng Matas Bozelis, ewan ko bayabag pa si Patrick Williams, then you have Kobe White, di ba? Lonzo Ball is there, you have Ayo Dosunmu, so ang daming option. So maybe this is better kaysa dun sa role niya sa Sacramento Kings, pero I don't think he is a must grab for the Chicago Bulls. Next up, Philadelphia 76ers. Um, Q Grimes. May decent din naman si Caleb nung andun siya sa Sixers So maybe he gets that role. Pero andun pa rin si Kelly Oubre So yeah, I think it's still gonna be Kelly Oubre and then siya na yung next option. If knock on the wood, PG-13 or Joel Embiid gets shut down, he could be one of the players that we could pick up. Other than that, hindi ko pa siya nakikita ng value. Jared Butler, ganun din. Not with the current lineup of Philadelphia 76ers. New Orleans Pelicans, itong pinaka-tricky sa lahat. They got Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk. Before this trade, maganda yung projection ni Carlo Matkovic. Since si Kelly Olynyk can actually play for, I'm not sure if maghahati sila or Kelly Olynyk takes over. But it doesn't make sense no? Parang bakit pa? So, let's see. Sana mas hayaan na lang nila si Matkovic to actually explore yung game niya if it actually translates sa NBA. But watch out for Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk. Both can play make, which is something that the New Orleans Pelicans could actually need since na injury na si DeJounte Murray. Out na siya for the season. Phoenix Suns, the other Martin. So, si Cody Martin naman nakuha nila. Tapos si Vasilij Micic. Wala lang. Binanggit ko lang yung mga pangalan nila. I don't think magkakaroon ng value to dito sa Phoenix Suns. Detroit Pistons, they got Dennis Schroeder saka si Lindy Waters. Si Lindy Waters ang interesting just in case bigla na lang i-flip in the future or mawala yung mga veteran shooters ng Detroit. So, matitira siya doon. So, may potential siya. Dennis Schroeder, nako, baka mag-post na naman to na ginagawang slave ang mga NBA players kapag trade deadline. I don't think he has value. So, other couple of names na pwede ko pang ibigay sa inyo na palagay ko kahit di na natin pag-usapan. Houston Rockets, nakuha nila si Cody Zeller, Daniel Tyus, saka si Jaden Springer, pero winave din si Tyus saka si Springer. Memphis Grizzlies, nakuha nila si Johnny Davis saka si Marvin Bagley. New York Knicks, si DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright could be tricky pero mukhang lipas na yung mga DeLon Wright na naalala natin nung nasa Raptors pa siya. For the Utah Jazz, they have Jalen Hood-Schifino, KJ Martin, Josh Richards saka si Mo Bamba. At si Mo Bamba na wave na yon. Based sa rumors, pwedeng kuhanin daw si Mo Bamba ng San Antonio Spurs para pang-backup kay Wembanyama. Pero let's see if that happens. Interesting yung KJ Martin kasi athletic nga siya. Kaso, Utah Jazz, napakadami na doon na mas bata na mas potential yung, mas may upside in terms of potential. So yun, maraming nangyari pero medyo yung impact niya hindi ganoon kalaki kasi parang nag-switch lang naman eh. Nagkapalitan lang ng value. So walang yung winner that can actually change the landscape of your fantasy playoffs. Katulad na sabi ko kanina, whatever happens, kung sino talaga yung magte-take over, kung si Nurkic o si Diabate, could be the biggest winner among Dalton Connect could bomb. Alam mo yung meaning, posible siyang pumutok pero fantasy profile hindi kakandahan. So, kung titimbangin natin mas madaming losers kasi sa winners, yung iba na retained lang. Yeah, it's still gonna be fun. Sino ba mga napulot yung mga pops ako? Wala din ako halos napulot. May mga stash ako na Nurkic pero hindi nga natin alam pa yung value. And then, yung other players outside of this trade, like for example, yung trade kay Kyle Kuzma, I just think na um, si Bob Carrington saka si Kai George has a shot to gain value. Kaso kita mo, ang dami nilang dinagdag. Dinagdag nila si Marcus Smart, si Colby Jones, si Alex Len, yan, magiging, ewan ko, baka yun na yung magiging backup ni Alex Sarr. You have A.J. Johnson, promising. They got Reggie Jackson saka CD Sissoko, pares nilang winning. So, ayun. What else? I think that's it. It was a fun season. Meron lang tayong big trades. Pero in terms of impact, wala masyado sa fantasy. If ever, ang pinaka-biggest impact ay gumanda bigla yung hindi naman biggest, more of like notable impact is gumanda yung schedule ni Luka. So may mga umiwas kay Luka at pinili si SJ which is napaganda pa just because of Luka's schedule. And then si AD naman from a almost sure bet, nagkaroon naman ng pangat na schedule kasi nasa Dallas na siya. So yun lang yung mga fantasy implications. If you have any questions later on, meron tayong live discussion and Q&A sa Tambay Fridays natin sa Facebook Live. So kita-kits na lang later mga paps. If you have questions, park nyo lang yan tapos pag-usapan natin mamaya sa live discussions. Okay? So, maraming salamat. Almost weekend na. Medyo maulan. So, enjoyed dun sa mga magaganda yung mga pulot pero wala masyadong big pick-ups for this season. Big lang yung mga trades pero in fantasy hindi siya masyado nagkaroon ng ng impact nga. So, ayun. Happy Friday mga paps. Always choose peace. Bye-bye.